Howdy! Wanted to show a couple tips and tricks that I've been using on my Molten Strike of the Zenith build. So first one that I did that I didn't see anybody else doing was taking Instant Leech right here on this mastery. This gives you so much more recovery. So I dropped an Endurance Charge and some other stuff for it. Definitely worth it on bosses where, for example, I was running a lot of Ziggurat maps and they would do a bunch of damage. It kind of lets you sit there and just continue hitting your Molten Strike so you don't miss any of your like multi-strike, multiple Zenith procs or whatever through there, so it allows you to face tank a little bit more. So that was one of the tricks that I used. I think I dropped this charge for it, and then I dropped like a point from here or something. I dropped a few points for it. Definitely worth. By far the biggest improvement tankiness-wise on the build, which is my chief complaint. Damage honestly always feels incredible, but the tankiness was kind of lacking. The other thing I did was I swapped out my like 450 div amulet with like strength, all attributes, reduced projectile speed, the mirrored one, the simplexes, and I got this instead. This Defiance with percent strength on it has also done a ton for keeping me tanky. I had the original Sin. I don't really know why, because I don't have the sword for it yet. I was gonna, get this and then get the sword for it, but I think I'm gonna reroll the build. But the second tip was using this instead of the amulet that everyone else uses, which is the strength one. You do lose. I was at around 10.5k life. It took me down and about 2200 strength. I lost quite a bit of strength for it. Damage still does Uber bosses just fine. It doesn't feel bad at all on. Damage does not feel bad at all on Uber bosses, even with this setup. I was playing around with this node here. The Instant Leech doesn't really feel super necessary with the Defiant, so maybe one or the other. They both felt good. I'd say Instant Leech with the 500 div amulet felt a lot better, but this was like 25 div, so if you're not buying a 500 div amulet, then maybe just run that one. And then if you run this setup, you can also, if you don't have the reduced projectile speed from here, you can just grab this little wheel over here and get the less projectile speed and some reduced right here. It's not quite the same, but it's still pretty good. The last trick was the static strike setup I have. So before I was running lightning strike in here in my chest piece, and I had a pierce on my implicit where it says 3% increased damage per 100 strength. I had pierce there instead, and then on the craft, instead of melee strike range, I had pierce on there as well. So swapped that out, swapped it for static strike. So I have shockwave, more duration, volatility, pulverize, and life tap. I have this set up with 2 of these maces that give increased AoE per 50 strength, and I have the spell damage essence and enchant on there for both of them. And it's kind of these are like 2 or 3 div. I just kind of crafted them up real quick. They're not super good. So I'll go show you what this looks like in a T17 real quick. I guess Abomination's good. Should have had it rolled before I started recording, but here we are. Sure. So the static strike is a lot better for like if you're playing a lot. My hands were kind of starting to get a little bit bothered by it. So this is the Shockwave MTX, so you can see it a little more visually clear. But this is the playstyle. You just run through the map, everything pops. And yeah, sometimes there's like rares that you have to sit there and attack a little bit, but it still feels a lot faster than Lightning Strike and a lot more comfy for sure. It plays like a Blade Vortex. You attack once and then you just run around and let it do its thing. You do this on a weapon swap, so oops, there we go. You can see the duration on Static Strike right here. It's about 4 seconds. It's not really worth scaling it past much more than the duration node, but yeah, you just let it do its thing. If you do get a Soul Eater mob, you can always weapon swap over to your Zenith and just, whack everything. So I'll go show the boss real quick, because Abomination's a good tankiness tester. So I have Overleech and I have the Defiance on. So I shouldn't die here, as long as I can leech. Yeah, so that's with this Gimp setup. I know the damage looks like a lot less because you have a lot less strength and a lot less life even, but I found that 8.5k life with a ton of recovery is a lot tankier than the 10.5 5k life I had with no recovery. So hopefully these help. Thanks guys. Bye.